The flapjacks are being flipped just right. Look at that, folks. Meta stock exploding upward after hours, up about $70 a share right now, based upon my 1,600 shares in the public count. That would be about $112,000 after hours right now, which is on top of a $928,000 gain in the public count just on the shares I currently own, not even what I've taken profits on. I cannot complain. Congratulations to anybody watching this that owns Meta stock. Absolute explosion. We're going to talk about what's going on here. I've called Meta stock for the last several years the easiest money in the stock market. Is it still the easiest money in the stock market after what just transpired? We'll talk about that in this video. We're going to get into that at the top of this video. Then we're going to get into the Cheesecake Factory. Cheesecake Factory stock was up over 5% here today, up over $10,000 today in the public count on Cheesecake stock. What's going on with this stock? Will it keep moving? The momentum's been extraordinary, now up $82,000 on stock. This does not include dividends received. So will this continue? Will it fade? We'll talk about that in this video. Fubo, what's going on with Fubo? This stock was up 17.5% here today, right? And will this stock keep moving? We'll talk about that and discuss that. Some major things are happening with Fubo, very small cap stock. Cheesecake is also kind of a smallish cap stock, but Fubo is really small. So we'll speak about what's going on with Fubo there. Then we'll get into SoFi. Great news I have for SoFi shareholders. Great news. And we'll get into that. I'll share my opinions and perspectives on what's going on there. So it's really going to be concentrated around 4 stocks this video here today. I just got into New York City a few hours ago. Flew into JFK, had to take trains and subways, but I'm here. I'm in the big city, okay? The Big Apple. I'm here, okay? So I hope you guys appreciate me covering all this for you guys. I was recording videos in Georgia for you. I was in Georgia for almost a week. I was recording videos in Charlotte, North Carolina for you guys. Now I'm in New York City. I'm in the big dog. I would say where I'm at exactly, but I can't say that, okay? But the moral of the story is, it's busy times. All I need from you guys, one thing only. Smash the thumbs up button. That's all I need from you, man. I'm trying my best to keep you guys in tune with everything going on. It's a million things going on, and I got to record these videos. So all I need from you is one hit of the like button. I hope you can do that for me. I appreciate you for doing that for me. Additionally, if you want to be subscribed to the channel, you can certainly subscribe. I think we're pushing close to 880,000 subscribers on the channel now at this point in time. Okay. Now, listen, 2 things I want to share with you guys before we get into this one. First is the description area down there. I also have this as a pinned comment. If you're looking to apply to join my private stock group, I'll have that as a pinned comment down there, along with if you're looking to join my Patreon. Those are 2 very different things. People think they're the same thing. No, they're way different. My Patreon is if you just want to see the stocks I'm buying and selling each week. My private stock group and access to 1000X, that's full access to my advanced software that I use on a daily basis. That's full access to all of my course curriculums. My private stock group's Discord chat, which is like a whole other level up versus Patreon. So the Patreon's cool and it's great for beginners and like you get to see the stocks I'm buying and selling each week, stuff like that. But I'm telling you, my private group's a whole other level. So whether you're looking to get my private stock group or whether you're looking to get in the Patreon, I'll have both of those linked in I'll have it as a pinned comment, and everybody should be part of at least one of those. It just depends on what stage you're at. Additionally, always in the description area, I always have my Instagram, my X page linked down there, okay? Now, additionally, I wanted to make sure I covered this fake news. I bought a brand new stock the other day, and it's in my Patreon, and somebody, the top comment said the new stock he bought was TTD. Fake news. I did not buy TTD stock. So I don't want anybody thinking I bought TTD stock because that was the top comment on that video I just sold. And so anyway, I just wanted to cover that. It was not TTD stock. Okay. Alrighty. So let's get into this, folks. Meta up here. What's going on here? Will this stay easy money? If you put money in Meta stock, is it still easy money? Okay. Let me share my opinion and perspectives here. This is huge. Meta had what's called a blowout quarter. A blowout quarter is when you just come in and obliterate numbers, obliterate them. That is what Meta went ahead and did. Okay, the earnings per share came in at $7.14 versus $5.92 was expected. Oh my gosh. The revenue came in at $47.5 billion versus $44.8, so almost a $3 billion beat on revenue. The guidance came in with a midpoint of $49 billion. Analysts were expecting $46 billion. So that's about $3 billion. And guess what Meta comes in and does? They come in and beat the numbers they always project. Like if you look at the last number of quarters, they come in and beat. So don't be surprised if Meta comes in and does more than $50 billion of revenue next quarter when they come in and report. Do not be surprised at all. Okay, think about what they just did. They did 47.5. in seasonally a weak quarter, and a quarter that was dealing with the tariffs and all that drama, and probably a lot of companies and businesses were probably cutting back on ad spend because they didn't know what was happening with the tariffs, and they were confused, and consumer confidence was so low and everything, and Meta came in and still just blew it away, right? Daily active users came in at 3.48 billion. That's compared to estimates of 3.5 billion. Here's a deal, $800. It's incoming quickly. Quickly, we're going to be over 800, and then we'll be talking about 850, 900 before you know it, okay? When you're coming in with these numbers, it's going to happen rapidly, okay? Now, this shows you how dominant these numbers really are for Meta. Revenue up 22%. Think about the stage Meta's at right now. You would figure this is a very mature company right now. Like, you know, there's no way they could still be growing 20% plus revenues. Yep. Here's my hunch. I think WhatsApp is actually starting to become a meaningful revenue driver for the company. Just wait to see the WhatsApp revenue as it pours in. They're not going to disclose it, but it's going to really start pouring in 26, 27, 28. But I think we're just getting the infant stage of that, and I think that's why you're seeing that revenue bump there now to 22%, because WhatsApp's just oh my gosh, like that's just a gold mine opportunity of revenue and profitability increase for this company over this next few years. Cost and expenses only up 12%. Huh? Revenue up 22, cost and expenses up 12%. Your cash from operations and your net income is going to fly. So income from operations was up 38% year over year. 38%. And remember, this quarter last year was a banger for Meta. It wasn't like this was some like bad quarter for them and they had easy comps. The comps were tough. The numbers that they were reporting at this time last year were great, phenomenal. And yet they still came in with 38% growth on a year-over-year basis. Or anybody think they're selling NVIDIA chips? It's unbelievable. Net income up 36%. Diluted EPS up a shocking 38% for this company on a year-over-year basis. I mean, where else would you rather be in big tech business, right? Nowhere. You know, you look at NVIDIA. NVIDIA's a banger. They got great numbers after great numbers. But here's the issue with NVIDIA. NVIDIA is counting on Meta, Google, all those companies continue to spend. Eventually, they're going to slow down their spend, all these companies. I think you start to get the hints of the slowdown in spend in terms of the increases in 2026, right? Meta, meanwhile, they can just keep posting their numbers. And remember, Meta's spending a fortune on all these NVIDIA chips right now, right? And they're going to be spending a fortune on AMD chips. But remember, folks, I'm trying to see the live time after hours moves as well right now. I got CNBC on right here. But remember, folks, like we haven't even begun to see the real revenue come in from all this AI spend Meta's doing. You're seeing very early glimpses maybe, but like you're not seeing the big money yet. The big money, we're talking 3, 5, 7 years from now. That's when you're going to start to see, oh man, all this money they spent on NVIDIA chips, AMD chips. Wow, that's a big deal. We're not even at that phase yet. Like, just wait for that. That's a few years from now, folks, okay? Now, additionally, cash and cash equivalents, marketable securities came in at $47 billion. Cash flow from operating activities came in at $25.5 billion. Headcount only up 7% year over year. I mean, when you guys are revenue up 22%, headcount only up 7%, Meta's running lean and mean, okay? Now, additionally, the company talked about we expect full year 2025 total expenses to be in the range of 114 to 118 billion. So they narrow their range from a prior outlook of 113 to 118. Okay, great news. The one thing that might have scared you from Meta, right, is Zuckerberg going to go crazy with the spend again? Is he going to go completely out of control and we're just not going to be able to justify it? And when you come in, you narrow your expectations and you kind of in where you were supposed to be in? From the folks that are more in Meta for value play, because you've got two groups of investors that are in Meta stock. You have the more value investors, right, that look at Meta's forward P and they look at the growth rates and they say this is a great value. This is a great value to be a buyer of Meta stock. And then another group of investors you have in Meta stock are the growth investors. They look at Meta and they say, massive AI opportunity over this next 10, 20 years, right? They're spending more aggressively than anybody on AI. They could capture the biggest market share with their Llama models. They could capture the biggest market share of anybody in AI. They could be the biggest winner of AI, right? And they look at the revenue growth 20+%, and that attracts growth investors. And the last smaller group you have, because not many people will do both these things. Meta is now up $73 a share after hours. We'll see if it's up $100 plus a share, tomorrow. We'll see. But you also have a very, very select few that are in it that are growth and value investors. That's myself. These don't usually mix. You have to learn the disciplines. It's no different than if I don't know, karate's not the same thing as Muay Thai, which isn't the same as Jiu-Jitsu, which isn't the same as boxing, which isn't the same as kickboxing, right? And so most people will just focus on one of those. But what if you could learn all the disciplines, right? And that's what I've really focused on for the last 17 years, is making sure I learn all the disciplines, what it means to be a great dividend investor, what it means to own a great dividend stock, what it means to own a great value stock, what it means to be a great growth investor and be able to identify those opportunities and run projections on where a company's revenue is going over the next 5-10 years, right? In EPS, and understanding where their margins are going for that business model. Learning all those disciplines can help you immensely in this game, right? And I obviously teach you all those in my private stock group courses there. And so, the fact that the spend's not out of control is really good news for Meta stock moving forward. Now, when it comes to the income statement, here's what we're looking at. It's a banger. A+ income statement. It doesn't get better than this. This is like, if I'm going to show a model of like what a perfect income statement is, this is it. Revenue up, about $8.5 billion, $8.5 billion roughly on a year-over-year basis. Cost of revenue only up about $1.1 billion. That's nothing. Research and development, that was the one thing that was high. That was up about $2.4 billion on a year-over-year basis. Marketing and sales hardly up. Literally nothing. It's a rounding error. Marketing and sales up roughly $200 million, right? Revenue was up about $8.5 billion. And your marketing and sales only up about $200 million? You gotta be flipping my flapjacks. That's a holy smokers. This ain't no dang jokers. General and administrative expenses was down about $1 billion year over year. Insane. How do you grow revenue $8.5 billion roughly in a quarter, and your G&A drops by $1 billion? They're pulling magic tricks over at Meta. Total costs and expenses for this company only up, we can call it about $2.8 billion on a year-over-year basis, right? So income from operations flew to $20.4 billion from $14.8 billion. And remember, this quarter last year was a banger. Net income flew to $18.3 billion, diluted EPS $7.14. I mean, you want to see perfection? There it is for you. There it is for you. Now, very important things I noticed when it came to the cash flow statement here that I want to draw your guys' attention to, okay? Cash flow from investing activities here. Look at the purchases of property and equipment, $16.5 billion. They've already, through the first 6 months on just property and equipment, spent nearly $30 billion just through the first 6 months, okay? Remember, guys, we're not even really seeing a lot of the return on investment for all this spend yet. That's coming. So for the growth investors, just remember that part. That's key, okay? Additionally, look at how much they ramped up the repurchases of common stock. They did over $10 billion of buybacks in this latest 3-month period. That compares to $6.2 billion in the same quarter last year. They're buying heavily, right? Heavily. And then we got the dividend payouts as well, $1.3 billion in dividend payouts there, okay? Now, the next question up here is Meta still easy money? And I think that's a fair question, right? Because Meta's been some of the easiest money you can make in the stock market for the last number of years. When I say the last number of years, I'm talking, basically the past 3 years, Meta's been arguably the easiest money you can make in the stock market, like anti-stress, like just beast, right? Here's the thing that's going on, okay? Analysts are way too bearish in their numbers. We look at the analyst estimates and kind of compile those, for all stocks on 1000xstocks.com, right? Analysts are far too bearish with their expectations for EPS, for revenue growth as well. They're going to have to move up their numbers likely substantially, okay? So Meta's likely trading at a forward P right now, given that the profitability numbers are coming in with way better than expected. Likely trading at a forward P right now of, I would say, 22 to 24 right now. 22 to 24. Listen. Revenue growth is over 20%. It's still easy money. The stock should be up between 15% and 20% tomorrow. After that move, the stock should not slow. Wall Street should continue to funnel money into this one all the way to the $850 to $900 range. Then we can take a breather, and then we'll be talking about $1,000 next. When you trade at a forward P likely right now in the low 20s, that would be fine if Meta's revenue growth was 5 or 7%, maybe even 8%. But when your revenue growth is a do-si-do, when it's 22%, you're way undervalued. And then we think about the opportunity Meta has over the next number of years, and you come to the conclusion, Meta stock, even after this move, and even if the stock is up 15 to 20% tomorrow, will still be easy money. And it will still be some of the easiest money in the market to be made over the next year. And so, I don't know what else to say. Now, here's another thing I'll say. Microsoft's moving after hours as well on very strong results. That's going to help out the Qs. That's going to help out the S&P 500 and the momentum really in these stocks in general. So that's going to continue to push the indexes as well. Now, an issue I have is Meta's a big position for me in the public accounts, almost 30% of the portfolio. AMD's been helping me out immensely, bring down that weighting, right? Because AMD's just been moving. We're now up $173,000 in AMD stock. That's been a big help. But the issue is, like, Meta's about to go way over 30% again because the stock's going to blast higher. And it's not just tomorrow's move. That's the thing, in my opinion. When it comes to Meta, we're going to, with how insane those numbers were they just posted in the guide, we're going to probably see continued momentum in Meta stock for at least 1 to 2 months straight. It doesn't mean every single trading day the stock will be up, but the overall trend for the next month or two is going to be up and away for Meta, right? Outside of some black swan event, but you could say that for stocks all the time. So, my gosh, man, like what a move, what a continued move. And then you want some more good news from Meta? Visa results. I graded their income statement yesterday. A-, very good numbers out of Visa. Net revenues up 14%. You know, with how bad consumer confidence is, all the tariff worries, blah, blah, blah. You know, consumers still spending money left and right, right? You know, I've been flying all over the place. Planes are busy, airports are busy, New York City's busy, everywhere's busy, man. Went to Joe's Pizza as soon as I got here, it's busy. So the moral of the story is, man, people continue to spend money, and that's great news, right? Okay, next up here, Cake. Then we'll get into Fubo, SoFi. What's going on with Cake? Will it keep moving and grooving? Here's the deal with Cake. Very strong results last night they posted. B+ income statement here. $955 million of revenue they did versus the same quarter last year. They did $904 million of revenue. Also looks like they had an extra day in there last year. No, food and beverage costs actually fell for the company on a year-over-year basis. That's phenomenal. That's a big line item there. That fell to 21.6% of revenue. Additionally, labor expense was that's the biggest category for Cheesecake. Gotta always watch labor, man. Labor fell for them as a percent of revenue, down to 34.9%, which means they're operating their restaurants very efficiently. As far as other costs and expenses, that was up a bit for them on a year-over-year basis, and G&A was up just a tad bit, but they are growing a lot of restaurant count right now, so I'm not surprised G&A grew a little bit there. Now, as far as total costs and expenses went, that was 93.2%. Oh my gosh, Meta. 93.2% total costs and expenses fell to as a percent of revenue versus 93.5% in the same quarter last year. So that's a good number there. And they continue to expand that number. Income from operations went to 6.8% from 6.5%. Income from operations went to almost $65 million in this latest quarter. If you look at net income, $54.8 million for them as far as net income goes. Okay. Now, income tax provision hurt them quite a bit in this quarter. That was 0.8% of revenue. So that was $7.4 million hit versus the same quarter last year was only $3.9 million. So they kind of got hit in a negative way. Income taxes can move up and down. No, diluted EPS, $1.14 versus $1.08. Very strong results. Is this a Meta type quarter? No. But is this a very strong results from a very strong company? Absolutely. Now, what makes this even more impressive, okay, you've got to always compare companies versus their peers. So for instance, look at Google's revenue growth and then look at Meta's revenue growth. They're two kind of peer type companies. Meta's smashing Google. Like Google, very respectable numbers they had, but Meta's a whole other level. Then when Apple reports tomorrow, compare Apple versus Google. Another great comp, and see what the results are. And you'll probably find, hunch is you're going to find Google smashing Apple, okay? So you want to compare restaurant company against restaurant company. So a great comp would be, look at somebody like Chipotle. Chipotle just came out with numbers a few days ago. What did Chipotle have for numbers, right? Their numbers were bad, folks. Bad. Look at Chipotle. Chipotle's income from operations fell on a year-over-year basis. Fell on a year-over-year basis. Additionally, Chipotle's net income fell on a year-over-year basis. No bueno. No bueno. Cake's coming in with impressive top-line numbers here, right? Growing revenue, $51 million in the quarter, but they're also coming in and growing their net income in this latest quarter, growing their diluted EPS, and growing their income from operations, right? Income from operations for Cake grew to almost $65 million from $58.6 million, right? While Chipotle's over here having income from operations go down from $586 million to $559 here. It was a tough quarter for the restaurant business, the casual dining business, anything you want to throw into that category. And Cake came in and they said, yeah, it's tough, and we're still going to put up numbers, right? That's big. Additionally, I listened to the Cheesecake Factory earnings call last night, right, while I was still in Charlotte, North Carolina. Banger of a conference call. Go to 1000xstocks.com, listen to the latest conference call. Don't just use our AI feature, okay? We have our new AI feature, which is phenomenal, right? And it can kind of give you an understanding of what happened on the conference call and the big moments and things like that, right? But listen to the full conference call. Listen to the full conference call. You will get educated on a very high level with what's going on with Cake. I could not be happier. I could not be happier. Now, something big they did mention on the conference call. This was huge, I thought. They mentioned about this new North Italia they opened in kind of like Boise, Idaho area, right? And they were talking about it's like 40% above company average for sales for North Italia. My guess is with North Italia, right, and this is a huge expansion opportunity for them over the next 5-10 years. It's the second biggest expansion opportunity for them outside of Flower Child, right? My guess is they're probably getting better about picking locations. And so I think this next group of North Italias is going to be even better numbers than the previous group, essentially. So, man, I mean, just, and with consumer sentiment as bad as it's been, like, what happens when consumer sentiment gets good? I mean, can you imagine North Italia numbers then? Jeez. Now, this is Cake. Cake's a freight train, okay? Cake is a freight train. A freight train, it doesn't move that fast at first. It doesn't have the fastest acceleration. But once it gets moving, you look out. And that's what Cake's doing. They're opening their new Flower Childs, their new North Italias, their other concepts. And that's just going to continue on. And, we got years of expansion ahead, man. Years of expansion. And so that's why I love Cake I don't just love Cake because of what's going on with the numbers short term. I love Cake for what's going to happen with this company over the next 5-10 years. It's beautiful. And the best thing is, I don't even have to worry about selling Cake shares. You know why? Because they pay out those sweet dividends every 3 months. So those dividends come in. Gorgeous. Fubo. What's going on with Fubo? Will it keep moving? This stock was up 17.5% here today, up over $12,000 in the public count on this stock. Rolling, baby. Rolling. So, Fubo, if you watched last night's video on the main channel I put out, right? I covered Fubo, and I covered what's going on, phenomenal news for their business model and whatnot, right? And if you watch that video, what did I tell you about the stock price in its reaction yesterday? I told you it made no sense. I told you there's got to be some manipulation going on. My guess is, I have no proof of this, okay? My guess is, I've been doing this for 17 years, I've seen a lot of crap, okay? My guess is, because Fubo came out with those preliminary results, no one was expecting that. So my guess is people had puts, they got screwed, they probably found a way to manipulate the stock down, is my guess, right? These Wall Streeters can make things happen, especially, Fubo's only $1 billion market cap, so for hedge funds to play games, they probably played games with it. They wanted to make sure they got that stock down that day, then maybe they switched the call side, and then today happens, right? And the stock explodes up. I mean, the stock at one point was up like 20%, just ridiculous, right? And what I tell you yesterday, I said, do not be surprised at all if you see continued momentum in that stock this week and the stock goes well over $4. What happened? Exactly that happened. I'm not surprised at all with what happened. Because it made no sense for that stock not to be up huge yesterday. Yesterday, the stock should have been up 20%, easy. Fubo stock yesterday should have been up 20+%. The fact that it wasn't was extremely fishy. And the fact that stock moved up and then moved down, nothing made sense. And that's why I told you guys, do not be surprised. And then sure enough, they started buying it right out of the gates. And then it kept the momentum going, kept the momentum going, kept the momentum going. Don't be surprised if the momentum keeps going, by the way, in regards to Fubo there. But, you know, it just cracks me up, man. The games they'll play. The only good news is I've just been in this game so long that I can see through their games now at this point in time, right? And obviously I let you guys know about that, and sure enough, it's exactly what I thought was going to happen there, right? Now, I posted this on X yesterday. I said SoFi wants 30, Fubo wants 5, AMD wants 200 soon, and I asked for folks' opinion on my X page on what they thought was coming first. But my opinion's kind of been Fubo wants it first. Given the numbers that are coming out for this company now, given that we're probably really starting to get really close to that deal being wrapped up with Disney for Hulu plus live TV, my guess is Fubo gets there first out of those 3 stocks. But I mean, all 3 are animals right now. Okay, so that's Fubo. That's what's going on there. And you know, what do you do about, you know, before we get into SoFi here and the great news I have for SoFi investors, what do you do about a situation like that? You know, as an average Joe investor out here, a retail investor, a little guy. What do you do about a situation that happened with Fubo yesterday where, in my opinion, it was manipulated down, and then today they let it go flying? What do you do about that? Absolutely nothing. Who cares? If you're a long-term investor, who cares? At the end of the day, these stocks are going to move where you want them to move over time. Where you get into trouble is trying to play call options around these stocks, margining out money. That's where you can screw yourself. Because if they manipulate these stocks certain ways that they want to manipulate them, right? And you got call options and they all expire worthless, you're screwed. You are super margined out heavy and you also get margin called in your portfolio, boom, boom, boom. Then you're in bad situation, right? As a long-term investor, I just look at it and I laugh and I say, okay, I see through your games. Like, I know what's going to happen on this other side of that, and that's going to be fine with that. Did I go out there and buy call options and play call options on Fubo? Nope. I wasn't buying call options yesterday or today, even though I thought was what was going to happen was going to happen, and it did happen, right? I'm not going to go out there and stress myself with call options because who knows? Maybe they could have manipulated it down again today. Like, I don't know. I thought they were going to have it fly, and that's what I shared with you guys in the video, and sure enough, they had it fly. But I'm not going to stress myself out and try gambling money around because there's a short-term outcome that I think is going to happen. Like that, I'm okay. I'm doing my style works just fine. Like, you know, tomorrow I'll probably be up 6 figures, multi-6 figures across my portfolios. I can't complain. Like, you know, I make 6 figures, multi-6 figures in a day. I'm good with that. That's fine. I don't need to get every call. I'm not going to play all these calls and in and out. No. We're bigger than that. We're doing bigger and better things than that stuff, okay? SoFi, next up here. Great news for SoFi shareholders. Great news for SoFi shareholders, okay? Which, by the way, SoFi has been a heck of a stock. We're now up 163% on the stock in the public count, $8.30 cost basis. I'm so happy I got to 5,000 shares of SoFi. It's now a 6-figure position in the public count, which means it's now a big dog position. If you make it to 6 figures in the public count, you're big time, okay? Listen, you know, SoFi, obviously, they did the $1.5 billion stock plan sale, right? People freaked out over this. I mean, they were losing their minds. I mean, I read the post on X. People were cussing out Anthony Noto. They were so mad at him. And there was a lot of retail folks. It wasn't like Wall Streeters were all complaining. No, it was average Joes were freaking out about the share dilution there, right? No, part of that I understand, and part of it I get it, right? Like people don't like to be caught off guard like that, right? The second part of it was people went too far. I mean, the way they were cussing him out, telling him he's a nobody CEO, doesn't know what he's doing. I mean, this stock was a $6 stock just, you know, a little over a year ago. And now it's in the 20s. The numbers are extraordinary. The revenue growth is 40% plus. Who are you to tell Anthony Noto he doesn't know what he's doing? You could be unhappy on the messaging and the way it was delivered, But I could take you to the same. I could take you on a different argument, and I could say they could have announced a share dilution at the same time as they came out with earnings. Okay, what's everybody going to be talking about then? The share dilution. So then you just take the full focus off of earnings. So that's something else. That's another side. Anthony Noto, you remember, he used to be, a pretty high-ranking person at Goldman Sachs, right? He used to be the CFO of the NFL. He was super high up working for Twitter back in the day. Man kind of knows a thing or two, right? He knows a little bit. So if you come out with the dilution at the same time you come out with earnings, it could end up in a situation where, the average Joe is not even paying attention to earnings. They're only talking about the share dilution. Because guess what happened when the share dilution was announced? That's all everybody was talking about. At least there was a time period where people got to focus on the 44% revenue growth, or 42% or whatever it was. It was 40-something% revenue growth rate. The extraordinary EPS. The diluted EPS came in at like 8 cents versus 1 cent this time last year. I mean, the beats were incredible. And so at least everybody got to focus on that and then talked about the share dilution, right? What's my opinion on it? The whole share dilution? Listen, I don't love it, but at the same time, I put my trust in a CEO to make the best decisions for the company. And if Anthony Noto believes the best decision for the company was do that dilution, $1.5 billion, right, and put the company in a way stronger cash position, I trust him on it. No different than if Zuckerberg wanted to, raise money. Like, there's no reason for Zuckerberg to do it because they make so much money, it's ridiculous, right? But if you did, I'd be like, okay, I trust Zuckerberg. Zuckerberg right now is spending ridiculous sums of money that he could be using on share buybacks right now and paying out dividends to shareholders like me. He's spending ridiculous sums of money on, nvidia chips right now and other things for infrastructure. Who am I to question Zuckerberg, right? I think the guy's done okay for himself. He's got, a $2 trillion company. I trust him. And that's the sort of level of trust you need to have in your CEOs. If you don't have that level of trust, you're in trouble. You're in a lot of trouble. So when Anthony Noto says, I want to do this, okay, I get it. I don't love it. I don't love to be diluted as a shareholder. But if he believes that's the best thing for SoFi's next several years, all right. I trust you, Mr. Noto. I trust you, right? Now, it was hilarious because everybody cussed out Anthony Noto. They freaked out at them. I shouldn't say everybody, but a lot of people did, right? They were upset. Oh boy, were they upset. All for what? The stock finished down 2% today. The stock's up after hours right now. We could be in a situation where SoFi reverses all those losses. It was like a 7% plus move, only finished down 2. Let's say tomorrow we're up 2 or 3% of the stock. We'll reverse the whole move. And everybody freaked out for what? Right? And guess who called this? Last night, inside the private stock group, I posted 5:57. I said, I would not be surprised if the dip ends up being bought up fast. I said SoFi is one of the hottest games in town, probably a top 10 most exciting stock in the market. It's exactly what we're seeing play up there, buying up the whole dip, man. Don't be surprised if you see 25 sooner or later, okay? Appreciate y'all for joining me as always. Thank you so much for being here. If you're looking to apply, join private stock group, private wealth group, get access to 1000xstocks.com. That will be the pinned comment down there. It will be the first pinned comment down there. It's also the first link in the description. If you're looking to join my Patreon, just see the stocks I'm buying and selling. That will be the second link as a pinned comment and in the description area, okay? All right, guys, much love as always. Oh, by the way, when you join my private stock group, you get your Steel membership card sent to your house, okay? Oh, yeah, baby, okay? All right, guys, much love and have a great day.